Britain dispatched the Royal Navy patrol vessel HMS Trent to Guyana. The ship arrived in Guyana on Friday, December 29th, 2023, and is due to stay there for a week, according to Guyana's Foreign Affairs Ministry. The announcement of a warship sailing to Guyana triggered Venezuela to deploy thousands of soldiers at its border a few days ago as a defense measure. The timing of the ship's voyage to Guyana has come into question, considering feelings are still raw between Venezuela and Guyana. Britain deployed the ship to the Caribbean and then to South America amid a border dispute between Guyana and Venezuela. Tensions and fear escalated after Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, ordered an invasion of Guyana's territory earlier this month. In case you didn't have time to catch up with the breaking news, we will break down everything you need to know about the ship's visit to the former British colony and Venezuela's response. You are watching The Final Takeaway, where we analyze information and facts and provide opinions on controversial matters of interest across the globe. Subscribe for free or become a member to enjoy perks like priority replies to your comments and discounts on merchandise. A big shout out to all who have subscribed or are a member. We are growing fast and strong because of your unwavering support. Our viewers are from all over the world, but a big shout out to all our Guyanese supporters. You make up our largest viewing audience, followed by the US, Canada, and the UK. Alrighty, let's get to it, shall we? HMS Trent, a Royal Navy vessel, arrived in Guyana on Friday, much to the disappointment of President Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela. Considering the circumstances, Maduro dubbed the deployment of the ship as a provocation by Britain and a quote-unquote threat to his country. Maduro deployed troops to Venezuela's border as a quote joint action of a defensive nature in response to the provocation and threat of the United Kingdom against peace and the sovereignty of our country, end quote. Venezuela sent troops to the eastern border and announced the military team would remain there until the UK Navy vessel leaves Guyana. Speaking in a video released on Twitter, now known as X, Venezuelan Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino Lopez said the forces are, quote, safeguarding our national sovereignty, end of quote. Two of the important questions here are: one, why did Britain send the Navy vessel HMS Trent to Guyana? And number two, why would this upset Maduro to the point where he felt it was necessary to engage in a defensive action near Guyana's border? Guyana is a sovereign country and is entitled to do as it pleases. Besides, Venezuela had joint military activities with other countries in recent time right in Venezuela. Observers believe the two countries are on an even footing in regard to this. Notwithstanding, why did Britain deploy the Navy vessel to Guyana at this point when there was seemingly a decline in tension between the two countries? According to British officials, HMS Trent has been deployed to Guyana as a show of support in the wake of tensions between the two countries and threats by Venezuela to annex Essequibo. According to Britain, the ship has various missions, including, quote, defense diplomacy. The ship's crew is expected to engage in joint military exercises with Guyana's military during its short stay. However, the timeline is important here. It's an important factor. Why now? Why deploy a warship after the two countries made a peace pact recently in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? What's the rationale behind the decision by the United Kingdom and the acceptance of the ship's visit by the Guyana government. In defending the deployment of the Navy ship, Guyana's President Irfaan Ali stated this on social media, quote, "Neither Venezuela nor any other state has anything to fear from activities within Guyana's sovereign territory or waters. We harbor no ambitions or intentions to covet what does not belong to us. We are fully committed to peaceful relations with our neighbors and all countries in the region." Bara Jagdeo, the Vice President of Guyana, said earlier this week that the ship's visit is routine and is a long-planned measure to build the country's defenses. Now, let's talk about how perception is reality. The problem here is perception. Perception on the part of Venezuela, some Guyanese, CARICOM, Latin American countries, especially Brazil, and allies for both countries. How do they perceive this development, and why is it such an issue for Venezuela to the point where Maduro deployed about 6,000 soldiers to its eastern border near Guyana's western border? First off, Venezuela perceives the warship's presence as a threat. In Maduro's mind, this should not have happened, considering the recent signing of a peace agreement. Let's talk about the agreement called the Argyle Peace Declaration. On December 14, just over 2 weeks ago, the president of Guyana sat down with the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, to discuss a peaceful way forward. News of the meeting sent shockwaves throughout the region and internationally, and it was pleasing to many to see the two heads of government coming together to try and resolve their differences in a peaceful manner. Just about 2 to 3 days prior to December 14, Maduro had ordered an invasion of the disputed territory called Essequibo. The territory is a huge chunk of Guyana, covering approximately 2/3 of its land mass, or 62,000 square miles, and Guyana is approximately 83,000 square miles. More importantly, it's a territory rich in oil, gas, and mineral resources. In keeping with the plans under a referendum held in Venezuela to annex Essequibo, Maduro unveiled plans for Venezuelan oil companies to begin exploring oil and gas reserves in Guyana's territorial water near Venezuela. Maduro went a few steps further by ordering the map of Venezuela to be redrawn to officially feature Essequibo as a part of its country. And according to reports, the country included the defense of Essequibo in its 2024 budget. How brazen! Things changed for the better with the Argyle Peace Agreement, or at least that was the takeaway for many. The parties had agreed to several things. The most outstanding commitments are: number 1, to avoid threatening the use of force or using force to settle the border dispute. Number 2, to set up a joint commission to address issues concerning Essequibo. Number 3, to establish a framework for future talks and negotiations in Brazil. Brazil was instrumental in helping Guyana and Venezuela arrive at the Argyle Declaration for Dialogue and Peace on December 14. The country regards the development as, quote, a milestone in efforts to peacefully address the issue. Of course, this is simply a declaration and it's not binding internationally. Well, under international law, it's not a binding international law document. The force or validity of the agreement is as much as the parties take it seriously. Even though it's not legally binding and not a permanent solution, the Argyle peace deal promised to assist in diffusing the tension between the countries especially since they are currently awaiting a final ruling on the border dispute from the International Court of Justice. In light of the new arrangement for ongoing peace talks and refraining from threats, aggression, or force in words or in deeds, Venezuela interprets the warship's deployment as a breach of the spirit of the Argyle peace agreement reached with Guyana. Maduro had a lot to say during a televised broadcast on Thursday. The Bolivarian head of state said, quote, "We believe in diplomacy, in dialogue, in peace. The threat of the decadent, rotten ex-empire of the United Kingdom is unacceptable. But no one should threaten Venezuela. No one should mess with Venezuela. We are a people of peace, but we are warriors, and this threat is unacceptable for any sovereign country." End of quote. Before airing his feelings about the situation on Thursday, the Venezuelan government reportedly issued a statement to the Guyana government asking them to, quote, "take immediate action for the withdrawal of the HMS Trent and to refrain from involving military powers in the territorial controversy." End quote. Brazil's President Luiz da Silva played a key role in getting the two countries to meet and work on de-escalating the tension between them. In a statement on Friday addressing the UK warship's visit, the Brazilian Foreign Ministry denounced military intervention by third parties trying to offer support to either Guyana or Venezuela. According to a statement on Friday, Brazil said it, quote, "believes that military demonstrations of support for any party must be avoided so that the ongoing dialogue process can produce results," and urged Guyana and Venezuela to, quote, "contain themselves and continue peace talks." Thank you for listening. You still have a chance to subscribe to our channel. Just hit the subscribe button below if you'd like to become a member and enjoy exclusive perks on us. Skip over to our channel page and hit the join button. That's all for now. Remember, we have a whole video collection on the Guyana-Venezuela border controversy if you want to learn more about this issue between these two South American countries. And we also have a playlist you can see right here on our screen. Enjoy, and we'll see you in the next video.